Sometimes in F1, fate can be cruel. The cards on the table change so rapidly that for years you can be considered one of the best, a young star, and at a certain point, in the blink of an eye, you're basically out and nobody wants you anymore. Well, the story of Jenson Button has unfortunately suffered this effect of Formula 1. Who knows, maybe it was luck, perseverance, maybe because when you have a dream, you always have to believe in it. At the end, Jenson also had the positive effect. It may happen, in fact, that no one wants you anymore, that you're considered one of many, but suddenly, you win a world championship out of nowhere and your career changes. People admire you again and see you in a totally different way. Button's career is very long, but it may not have been. It was successful, but it has been so close to never become such. It starts with Williams. This interlude does not last long. Because of Grove, they're just waiting for Juan Pablo Montoya's contract to be released, and despite 6 points finishes and an 8th place in the World Championship, Jenson is parked at Benetton for 2 years to make room for the Colombian. He is considered a rising star, a smooth, intelligent and versatile driver, especially in the wet. In 2001, however, things do not go very well, and Jenson only scores once, with a 5th place. Flavio Briatore does not appreciate. The car is not performing, but Jenson is accused of not knowing how to maximize the setup and having a lifestyle that is too extreme, kind of a playboy. Basically, for someone like Flavio, it's already now or never. Either he proves he's good, or he can walk away. Despite some difficulties in qualifying against someone like Jan or Trulli, Button does well in the races, scoring 7 times, finishing 7th, behind only the likes of the Ferrari, Williams and McLaren drivers, coming close to the podium on several occasions. The problem is that Fernando Alonso has already a space reserved at the Renault team, and Button joins BAR alongside a world champion like Jacques Villeneuve. Finally, Button earns respect, and in 2004, his talent fully emerges. The season is dominated by Ferrari, but behind them there is a driver who stands out from the rest. Button gets the stunning amount of 10 podiums, 15 points finishes and a 3rd place that sounds like a win. The Ferraris were unreachable, and behind them was a modest team like BAR, led by Button himself. Teammate Sato is 8th with less than half of the points, and at that point, Button is seen as one of the best drivers. Things are looking good. Even in 2005 starts badly. Among retirements and disqualifications due to an irregular car, Button does not score points in the first 9 races, but in the remaining 10 he always does, showing an impressive regularity, plus various peaks such as 2 podiums. He's only missing a victory, which arrives in a fortunate way in 2006, the year where he comes 6th in the World Championship, winning the Hungarian GP in humid conditions after starting 14th. Even in the last 6 races, he gets more points than any other driver, more than Alonso and Michael Schumacher. He has beaten Villeneuve, Sato and Barrichello. He got 15 podiums in 3 years, and it is inevitable that he is considered as one of the best drivers. But something is missing. Could it be the team? Things change quickly in F1, we said that. If you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, it can even be that your career suddenly vanishes. In 2007, Honda takes a giant step back, and Button scores points only 3 times. In 2008, things are even worse, because despite the arrival of Ross Brawn, the car is not performing, and Button only scores once. Practically, we go from years of continuous podiums to a 2-year period in which he gets the total of 9 points. He finished 18th in the standings, and now it seems over. Nobody wants you anymore. You even finished behind your teammate. As if that weren't enough, there's a global crisis, and Honda realizes it cannot afford the cost to race. If no one buys the team, Jenson Button is out. Ross Brawn takes over, and it is only in March of 2009 that Jenson, with a huge salary cut, has the certainty of being miserably one of many. However, things can change. Sometimes it goes well, and you end up from not having a seat to suddenly being in an enviable position. Yes, because Honda, which decided to abandon the sport, had designed a car that was sensationally adapted to the substantial regulation changes in 2009. Brawn manages to get the Mercedes engine, and all of a sudden, Button wins the first race of the year. But it doesn't end there. He wins the second, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth. He also wins the seventh. The Brawn GP is a missile. Hey, that driver who wasn't even meant to be there is actually a skilled racer who knows how to win. With 4 pole positions and 6 victories, Jenson has 61 points out of 65 available after the first 7 races and has practically already won the championship. Teammate Rubens Barrichello will take too long to get going, and when it comes to mid-season, Ferrari and McLaren close the gap like Red Bull. It's game over already. Barrichello is 26 points away, Vettel 32. There are 10 races left, and despite Jenson arriving on the podium only twice, he does not win anymore. He's often beaten by Barrichello. He collects an average of 3 points per race. He is world champion. The driver who was no longer considered is world champion. Suddenly then, your career changes. By a pure stroke of luck, the sport enriches with a talent that would have otherwise been wasted. Button leaves the team he won the world championship with and joins McLaren. There's Lewis Hamilton alongside, probably the strongest on the grid at the time, and the favourite for 2010, considering especially how he finished 2009. And so, Button's career takes a totally different path. He goes from fighting to enter Q2 to always fighting for podiums and victories, thanks to that world championship that has given light to a star that was dying out. Button starts strong, winning 2 of the first 4 races, and for a long time he leads the championship. He's in the fight well until the end, by the faux pas in Belgium where he's hit by Vettel, and in Korea put him out of the game. At the end of the year, he's 5th, just 40 points from winner Vettel and 26 from Hamilton. He has proven to be a totally good driver, and you have to think that no one would have noticed without that stroke of luck in 2009. Having reached the mature age of 31, Jenson begins a series of seasons with the Woking team that will end with his retirement from F1 in 2016. Indeed, in 2011 he does better than Hamilton, who for the first time ever ends the season with fewer points than a teammate. Button will be runner-up, behind Vettel's unstoppable Red Bull, with 12 podiums and 3 wins, some of which iconic like in Canada, with an overtake on the last lap, and a perfect strategy in variable conditions at the Hungaroring. There are 3 victories also in 2012, including the one in Brazil which will prove to be the last of his career, and the last before a 9 years drought for McLaren. Jenson is not a flashy driver, he's not good in qualifying, he's not one who overtakes spectacularly and takes your breath away. It seems that his time is always about to come, but in 2013 he is joined by the promising Perez, which is sidelined at the end of the season. He is partnered by Magnussen in 2014, but again, despite all expectations, Button is the winner. In 2015, after a few disappointing seasons, McLaren gambles everything on the unsuccessful Honda engine, and goes from being a car that fought for points to one that is regularly lapped several times over the course of races. While partnered by Fernando Alonso, Jenson even finishes in front of the Spaniard, who will make up for it in the following year. 2016 finally is the very end. Alonso is regularly in front, and Jenson, suffering from multiple mechanical failures, will struggle to shine, except for a spectacular 3rd place in qualifying in Austria in the wet, and the consequent 6th place in the race. For him, there would be only one appearance in 2017, in Monaco, before devoting himself to other formulas. Jenson is the protagonist of a singular story, made of strokes of bad luck and good luck. In Formula 1, it often goes like this. Being in the right place or the wrong place can make a lot of difference. In 2008, it seemed that his career was going to end with just 1 win and a few flashes. but instead it ended with 15 wins and a World Championship. Jenson Button rose and achieved glory.